Okay, so this one is I pretended to be a boy and got treated like a human by Marina Karlova. This is it's strangely not too uncommon. Having someone put on a different I don't know like class or groups like appearance, posing as another group in order to walk a mile in their shoes, kind of thing. As it were. But it is something I've seen. It's something I've seen a few times before. Like I believe this specific instance of a woman dressing as a man to see how men live has been done before by Nora Vincent, who famously ended her own life afterwards. Though I'm not sure. I'm not sure that was related to her brief stint as a man. I mean, anytime people talk about her, that is the joke. But yeah, I haven't looked into it too much. I just know of it as a thing that happened. Then there's also the journalist John Howard Griffin, who in the 50s, he posed as a black man, a white man. He was a white man, and he posed as a black man. I guess he did blackface for a good reason. He wanted to experience the lives of black people in like racist, segregationist Southern America, and I don't believe he ended his life after that. But yeah, I remember being an interesting read. Something I read in high school, Black Like Me. But yeah, in any case, these kinds of stories are definitely, well, something similar to these types of stories has become more common, quite a bit more common as the existence of trans people gets more accepted in society. Hopefully, these recent attacks on that acceptance will won't become something more. But boy, those stories I've heard from trans people are they're kind of wild. Did you know that apparently there's like a specific kind of male versus female orgasm, and if you what's the word? Use the other sex's hormones enough, then you will start experiencing the other sex's orgasms. I didn't until I'd heard about these experiences from trans people. Anyway, I don't know if this person is trans. Based on the video title, I'm guessing not. But yeah, I guess we will see. I guess we'll find out. And as always, I got
don't shout.
my
That's not
notes
very ladylike. Don't
right
talk
down
back.
here.
Be polite. Always smile. You should look pretty. No one likes a messy girl. Cover yourself. Don't eat too much. You should lose some weight.
Yeah, I've
A
heard a
lady
lot of this
always keeps
from
herself neat.
reading as much as I can about women's experiences. That these are all very familiar sort of things. I'm kind of lucky in the sense that as a man, I've never really. Did I remember? I've never really experienced too many of those. Be a man, sort of criticisms. I do remember there was like a one incident I think I was like 11 when this happened. I was back then I was as a kid you're a lot more flexible, so I would often sit with my legs crossed in a way that the other boys thought was very very feminine and whatnot, but I didn't. I was never the type of person who would care about stuff like that. So I think that kind of thing, despite getting in an argument with everyone, that sort of thing is kind of washed off my back like water off a duck. So I didn't, despite sometimes getting, I guess, I don't know, teased and stuff about that. It never really affected me too much. I don't know, maybe a psychologist could point to some deep-seated psychological effects of that, but I don't know, I didn't. Other than making me a lot less interested in being around people, it didn't really make me think less of myself. Basically, it made me think less of other people. Is what happened.
Let the boys win. Don't intimidate men. No one will marry you if you act like that. I never actually wanted to become a man. I just couldn't stand being treated like a girl.
Yeah, it's a
The
common
arithmetic was simple.
story
Same
I've heard.
house, same parents, two children. My brother received the standard human package: autonomy, respect, the right to pursue his interests without justification. I received the
I mean,
modified
now
version.
to be fair, I mean, yes, while it is true that um, the kinds of restrictions that men have are often far less, let's say limiting than women's. I mean, they are still there. Like you can't. I mean, like I mentioned, if you're too girly, then suddenly everyone goes crazy. You know, like you can't. You're allowed. You are allowed to do a lot more as a man, but there are very very clear lines that you are not supposed to cross. And if you do cross them, then you're not. Your status as a man will get called into question, and you suddenly all of those supposed freedoms and liberties reveal themselves to be, reveal themselves to be what they are. There's a lot of strings attached to, well, I mean, really to maintain the status quo of the specific kind of male social roles, female social roles, and don't you dare, try to mix the two. Don't dare try to do anything outside of your, don't dare try to get out of your lane, basically.
Version. Conditional acceptance, contingent on pleasant behavior, aesthetic compliance, and emotional labor. I didn't fantasize about male anatomy, nothing to do with penis envy or any of that bullshit. I fantasized about walking through the world without constant evaluation
Yeah,
of
yeah,
my girliness, my
yeah.
attractiveness.
I mean, yeah, that is one. I mean, that is kind of the difference. Like you're as a woman, you're being constantly evaluated on whether you're properly acting out womanhood. Whereas as a man, you tend to get the benefit of the doubt that you are doing it. It's only once you do something like obviously out of the man box, then you get the punishment. So you can avoid punishment as a man a lot easier than women. But if you're someone who is not comfortable within that box for whatever reason, whether it's something as distinct and obvious as being transgender, or whether it's something more psychologically personal, like you just, I don't know, like you're a guy who likes something considered girly, but otherwise you're cis. I mean, that's still gonna get you um, a lot of flack. But yeah, definitely. Like it's funny because like there's often this saying that like was it like men act or men do, women be, or like women are kind of thing. But like in reality, it's kind of more the other way around. Like as long as you, as a man, as long as you don't like how to phrase it, like women have to do a lot to stay in the box of women. Like there's this, it's like a ball they're trying to balance on, and it's constantly being pushed and prodded by like not just like society, but even just like the realities of being a human being. And your like a lot of the activity of a woman is just trying to stay on that damn ball and not fall off it. And so ironically, the the uh, the the fact of being a woman involves quite a lot of doing, whereas for men it's not really a ball that you're trying to stay on, more it's a box that you gotta stay in. So ironically, all that doing is very constrained in what it can be, kind of thing.
My threat level to established hierarchies.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to pursue technical subjects without the background chorus of "that's not appropriate for you." I was told from early childhood that I needed to learn how to cook, clean, and wash dishes, otherwise, no one would ever marry me. Even playing piano was framed as something that raised my price on the marriage market. And quietly, in my head, I thought, well then, fuck your marriage. Not always quietly and not always in my head. Sometimes it was really loud. The system's mechanics became crystal clear during a simple experiment that I conducted at about age 5. I went outside wearing pants and introduced myself as a boy. I shit you not, the social response was immediate and measurable. Inclusion in games, attention to my ideas, basic conversational respect. Same cognitive capacity, same personality, different social coding, entirely different access to human dignity. What changed wasn't me. What changed was which algorithm children ran when processing my existence. This reveals the core deception. Gender isn't identity, it's access control. It's
Yep.
the interface between your physical form and society's determination of what you're permitted to want, pursue, or become. Male coded bodies activate the autonomy protocol. Female coded bodies activate the compliance protocol. The system
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm a
care
very
about
big fan of how he's breaking this down. Like the I guess the specificity of it is definitely very appealing to me.
your internal experience. It cares about maintaining its power distribution structure. I observed this differential treatment daily. When my brother displayed anger, it was passion. When I displayed anger, it was pathology requiring correction. His technical interests were natural curiosity. Mine were suspicious deviation from appropriate feminine concerns. His mistakes were learning experiences. Mine were evidence of fundamental inadequacy. Of course, being a family scapegoat was
That's
enough.
often that's also often. I mean, not just man and woman like differences. I mean, it's really just more like any kind of marginalized versus the non-marginalized dynamics. I mean, obviously, you see the same thing with like white versus. I mean, not even just black people, but just non-white people, where like any mistakes the white person makes is well, they're like a learning experience. Like, don't ruin this young boy's life just because he, drunkenly ran over a family. Like, we can't do that. But if it's, like a black person or even just, again, like I said, a non-black person, then suddenly it's representative of the whole race. It's like they're all like this kind of thing, and it's like very like the same script being applied to all sorts of different, um, I guess, classes, groupings, whatever you want to call them.
Another factor in this treatment, but that's a topic for a separate video. I was taught early on that I had no right to defend myself, verbally or physically, because a girl is supposed to be understanding, kind, and forgiving. Otherwise, she'll be unwanted. In the end, I still got infected with all that fuckery, which made me perfect food for psychopaths, narcissists,
Yeah,
and manipulators for decades.
which is
But I got lucky. At least
just like non-ironically kind of the point of all that female socialization is literally like to disarm women, basically.
I didn't marry any of them. So my brother had default access to basic human consideration, and that was what I wanted too. I was literally told that I must never show my intelligence because a woman is supposed to be wise, and that means pretending to be stupid. But I wanted to engage with whatever I was interested in without someone explaining why these interests were gender inappropriate. I also wanted functional clothing instead of a decorative performance costume. Skirts, in particular, created a constant sense of vulnerability. Any bully could flip them up for a laugh. You had to monitor how you sat, how you ran, and forget about climbing trees. Clothing wasn't just impractical, it was surveillance equipment. It taught you early that your body was for observation, not action. Sure, boys can't cry and must perform masculinity. That's its own prison. But they don't get daily appearance audits and
Yep,
permission
yep.
structures for basic human
I already
activity.
mentioned that. Like as a man, as long as you're assumed to be fulfilling your role, and as long as you don't act out of that, then yeah, you're good to go. Get out of here, kind of thing.
The male prison, while restrictive, offers one critical escape valve: sanctioned rage. Boys are forbidden from crying or showing vulnerability, but their capacity for anger is implicitly and often explicitly approved. Their rage is categorized as passion, drive, or leadership potential. This is the system's concession to keep them functional. For girls, however, the very emotion of anger is categorized as pathology, hysteria, or deviation. It is instantly suppressed because rage is an autonomy protocol. When a girl's justifiable anger is blocked and denied external expression, it has only one place to go: inward. It transforms into guilt and shame, the internal code that teaches her to self regulate, minimize her needs, and accept the role of the compliant, easily manageable food source for the system's psychopathic agents. This asymmetry isn't a cultural quirk. It's the core power distribution architecture in action. When people express confusion about increasing gender questioning among young people, the answer should be obvious. The current system is still transparently inequitable. Anyone with basic observational skills can see that respect and autonomy are distributed based on arbitrary physical characteristics. I saw it with my own eyes as a child in the 1980s, and I still remember how shocking it was. Yes, times are changing. Times they are changing. We now even have female presidents, and I'm not here to legitimize power itself, but to point out that even within this flawed architecture, the asymmetry is blatant. Can you imagine any of them behaving like their male counterparts? Can you imagine one of them being allowed to act like a bully, an aggressor, or an autocrat? The moment they raise their voice, the media tears them apart. We had the Iron Lady, you might say, but remember how much hatred was poured on her precisely for being uncompromising. This very trait that made male leaders into strong statesmen turned her into caricature and a target. One exception under constant attack doesn't prove equality. It proves how rare and unwelcome such exceptions are. So, yes, the last 40 years have brought some shifts, but those are cosmetic layers, not a dismantling of the system.
Yeah, yes,
Of course, people seek.
they often satirize what like gaslight gatekeep girl boss thing. Where it's like, I mean, like how to phrase it? Like, yeah, we're not gonna change the system, and all we're just gonna allow some of the marginalized people to like we're not going to change the system in the sense of getting rid of the concept of marginalized people in and of itself. We're just going to do these sorts of these minor concessions by allowing some marginalized people to sit at the table, and then now you can be the oppressor. Like, okay, like I don't like do there have to be oppressors and oppressees? Like, can we just have neither of those? Like no, okay.
Escape routes. Of course, they grasp for alternative categories, different pronouns, new social classifications. Remaining in their assigned category means accepting punishment for any deviation from prescribed behavioral scripts. Not everyone questioning gender wants to transition between categories. Of course, there are cases of genuine incongruence between body and self perception, but that's not the focus here. Many simply want freedom from the categorical system itself, not new identities, but the elimination of constraints attached to the old ones. Perhaps if female categorization didn't automatically include behavioral restriction, intellectual limitation, and aesthetic performance requirements, fewer people would experience it as a prison requiring escape.
Of
This
course.
isn't about biology. This is about power architecture. This is about who receives full humanity by default and who must earn basic respect through perfect compliance with artificial behavioral codes. Creating additional gender categories doesn't address the fundamental problem, the assumption that physical anatomy should determine cognitive and social possibilities. We're still operating within a framework where what exists between your legs determines what's available to your mind. The solution isn't more sophisticated categorization systems. The solution is abandoning the premise that human potential should be sorted and limited based on whether they have testicles. Until that happens, yes, people will continue attempting to hack their way out of whichever box feels most restrictive. And they should.
Hysteria.
Hysteria. Oh, я неправильно сказал. Ебать. Turned her into a caricature and a target.
Caricature.
Caricature, блядь. Incongruent.
Incongruence.
Incongruence. Нихуя себе, блядь. Between body and self physical
Get some fun bloopers at the end here.
anatomy. Physical anatomy. Bruh. Automatically include whichever box fills.
Alright, so this reaction was basically on mine. It was basically just all facts, no notes, as you can see. Normally I would have had something down here, but it was pretty much just all like, go off, queen. Like speak your truth. Really speak our truth. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I definitely very much liked just the density of like, and specificity of the explanation of it. Like, yeah, great video, great video. Thanks so much for watching. Consider liking, commenting, maybe even subscribing. And if you're feeling particularly generous and of age in your country of residence, try visiting these links up in the corner. Anyway, here are some more videos to check out, and until next time, take care.